If someone wanted their 85-year-old self to be depressed and sad, what should they do every day?
Don't do hard things. In the book Deep Work, the writer was talking about how we do not have as much willpower as we think we have. And so it's important for you to channel that your scarce willpower to the place of maximum output.
What does that mean?
The biggest problem for a lot of young people is that there is such a big dichotomy between where they are and where they want to be. And so for them, they know where they want to be. But moving from where they are right now to where they want to be feels like a fast stretch, because they are automatically seeing people who are where they want to be, but they cannot see the process. Remember I said clarity is about meeting the right people, knowing what exactly to do, how to do it, when to do it, and how to do it. I wanted to do data analytics. I applied to PwC in 2021. The person I thought passed the assessment, I did not pass. But the idea is, as a young person, you must always know that opportunities are lying all around you. So you must be able to know when a door is closed. You must be able to make the switch over. There's the point of being persistent on a closed door, but there's also a point of knowing that time is going. God gave us infinite ability, finite in our physical strength, but infinite in our imagination. In terms of imagination is free, so you can be as infinite as possible in imagining things. You can imagine as much as you can, but a lot of us do not take advantage of that ability. What I had to admit and do to myself is, whatever my father achieved late, I was going to achieve it 10 years earlier.
Hi there, we're approaching a very significant place here at our podcast Conversations with Valerie, and one simple thing that you can do for us that will make the experience even much better will be to subscribe and to share this video to as many people as possible. And what we're committing to doing is to continue to bring you more conversations. And so till then, let's get into the episode. Hi Adewale, how are you doing?
I'm very good.
So nice to have you here on this episode.
I mean, good to be honest. Monday afternoon.
Thank you for making our time to be
Thank
here.
you so much.
I'm really grateful that you're here.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
And I was thinking of who to have for this episode. I really could not think of any better guest for this particular conversation than you. So I'm really inspired by your work. I've been following your work for a while now. So thank you.
I'm really grateful because good work points to the evidence that there's a good creator that is able to allow us show forth good works through the works of our hands, right? And I'm very grateful for what he's doing through my life. Like I always say, it's always to day one, right? And there's so much more to come in the future.
Nice. So for someone meeting you for the first time, how do you describe who you are and what you do?
Okay, first I would describe myself saying first, Adewale Adeife. I work in cybersecurity, tech consulting. I also attend CCI. I always talk about my church, sorry. And I would say I'm a pastor, which feels cool now because I recently became a pastor, so sometimes I have to add it to my introduction. And also I support Chelsea Football Club. But I'm also a big fan of career growth, career clarity. Conversations are just awesome around people becoming like a much better version of themselves, right? I'm all for insightful conversation, and I'm all for just learning something new and being able to just share my light around the world. This world is full of darkness, so there's a need for a little bit of light. Yeah.
Nice. So to start this conversation, I want us to go back to your early days. What about the young Adewale, before Adewale, all of these things, cybersecurity, pastor? How was your upbringing? How were your early days like? How did all of that lead up to the man that you're becoming now?
So I grew up with really conservative parents that are very strict, and we're all 4 boys, so 6 of us, like my parents, and 4 of us, 4 guys, right? And growing up as the firstborn, it means automatically responsibility was something that was woven into my DNA, right? I didn't have to wait till a particular age to become responsible. Life just had its own way of making me responsible. And also because my parents were academicians, naturally good grades mattered to them. So I remember in JS2, I came back home and like I was fourth out of almost like 150 students, and my dad was threatening to take me to public school. Not like public school is bad, but I saw it as a threat, and the next time out, I came first. So that's how strict my parents were. My parents were also leaders and pastors in church, so church was an everyday thing for us, right? And but my dad was just someone who wanted me to do well, right? And in his head, there were certain limits he could not reach again. And that's why I always tell people, when you are young, is the best time to start to dream. Like that's the best time for you to have the kind of exposure you want. That's the best time to start to envision what your mirror possibilities can look like, right? But I don't think my dad had all of that, but immediately got what that could be. He started giving us books every weekend. We had books we were reading, and if you don't read, you cannot eat. Like that was how strict kind of family I came from, and it was with that I read a lot of books from my secondary school, self-help books, not fiction, right? Self-help books that were already painting a picture of what success could look like or should look like, right? And so even if I did not have the tools, for instance, I was probably in SS1 or GS3 when I read The Richest Man in Babylon, right? And right now, where I already have probably the tools to invest and all of that, to take those lessons into action, I'm not like, why was my dad punishing me at that point in school? I wanted to study accounting, and my dad was like, nope, you're going to do engineering by force. And my house is I told the conservatism, like my father's, which is fine, and you cannot rebel. So I ended up going to science class, studied electrical engineering, and before I started playing, I was on the bus to Akure.
Wow.
And you can't even just run out of the house and go to the compound to play. Your time for play is 5 to 6.
Wow.
So if you come into the house 6:05 or 6:01, oh, you're in problem. You're in big trouble. So
Like all your life.
that was all my secondary school, all through the point where I was living with my parents.
Yeah.
Until I went to university, obviously, I mean, I was not a big boy. So I studied electrical engineering. But life has just been really good to me. I'm not going to say perfect, right? But life has just been always good to me, giving me opportunities without me even asking. Like I will always say, if you keep knocking, doors will always open. And doors know how to open to people who are persistent.
Drawing from your childhood, obviously, would you say, when I look at you, one thing that I see, and anyone who knows you, I believe will see, is boldness. You are so bold, whether it's your faith, whether it's your work, whether it's your community, friendships, like you know who you are, you know what you stand for, you have a sense of identity. Would you say, like drawing from your early days with your parents, putting those time structures in place, and who you are now in terms of knowing your identity, like how did that come about, this confidence that you seem to have?
First, my identity is in Christ, but in addition to that is also the fact that I have unlearned shame. You see, my mom did something really crazy. And thinking back, I'm like, you shouldn't have done it. You know that my school uniform, the shoes should be black. And she goes ahead and buys me a Timberland that is brown. She went ahead and dyed it blue. So on a Monday morning, I was really small. The thing that just helped me in class was that I was quite good, right? But I was really small, and so I was always in front. I used to pray for one boy, Felix, to come. If Felix does not come, because he perpetually is coming, he was the shortest in class. But if Felix does not come, I'm the next person that will stay in front. So I remember that Monday morning, I was in JS1 second term. I would go to the front of the assembly with my Timberland. And on that assembly floor, our vice principal, Miss Fagbami at that time, just said, those of you that are not wearing the shoes, come out. And so imagine me come to the front of almost 2,000 students with my shiny blue-brown Timberland.
Wow.
And I was really shy. I was a really shy kid. And she was like, you see this one? I don't know, I think they even carried me also, like, just to show me them the shoe or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if I cried, but that did something to me in terms of shame. Like, that was the highest anybody could ever shame me. Like, there was nothing else that was going to shame me beyond that. And since then, immediately after that period, I just had this level of self-confidence after that was mind-blowing. That's why I always say, if you have a low self-esteem, you can always get out of it. The problem is, most times we are not willing to. We feel so comfortable making it our identity and making it the norm. Or I feel this way, I feel this kind of way. But I could have just been more reserved because of that. But like, you're shaming me about this, okay, don't worry, I'm always going to be in your faces. So that just gave me some level of boldness like never before.
You are one of the top voices in cybersecurity on LinkedIn. If I were to zoom into your DMs, what would be the one thing you would say people are struggling with right now?
It still boils down to clarity, knowing what to do, how to do it, with whom to do it, where to do it, when to do it. A lot of people do not understand that clarity comes in motion. You can never just sit at a place and expect clarity to just fall upon you and now you automatically know what to do, right? And it's really difficult because when I tell people that sometimes you do not always have to start from knowing exactly what to do. You need to start from knowing what you don't want to do. If you wake up this morning and you don't know what to eat, if I tell you, oh Valerie, do you want to eat shawarma? You say no. Do you want to eat yam? You say no. Do you want to eat beans? You say no. How about cornflakes? You say no. Automatically, what that does is that even though you don't know what exactly you want, you're already having a picture of what you don't want. So the number of what you would be like an options to you are being narrowed automatically to now fewer options. So automatically it's easier for you to make a clear decision on, okay, I think now I want rice. Right? You didn't feel like having rice earlier, but now through knowing what you don't want, you are able to narrow down your choice making mechanism to choose something that you want. Especially starting on your career, old advice would be like, you're passionate about mathematics, study engineering, you're passionate about solving problems, you know how to manage people. I think you should go to product management, project management, and all of that. Great. But career clarity is more about saying, I am sure that this is the path for me, and I'm going to sit at it until I achieve what I need to achieve. It's that inner most confidence, knowing that this is meant to work out and it's going to work out. That's how I feel about cybersecurity. I'm always so pumped every Monday. Like, I look forward to work. I'm so excited to work. I'm so excited to work because it feels like my purpose. It feels like something I've been called to do. The only most exciting thing about cybersecurity is church and God. Like, apart from that, like, this is the most exciting thing ever to me because it's my purpose. It feels like something I'm called into. But guess what? I stumbled into it by mistake.
Wow.
But the biggest problem also for a lot of young people is that there is such a big dichotomy between where they are and where they want to be. And so for them, they know where they want to be. But moving from where they are right now to where they want to be feels like a fast stretch. Like, it feels like, how am I going to get there? And you know why? It's because they are automatically seeing people who are where they want to be, but they did not see the process. All they are seeing like is a destination where people are at this point earning 9 figures, solving problems at the top organization. I wanted to do data analytics. I was always passionate about it. In fact, when I applied to PwC in 2021 or 2022, the person I thought passed the assessment, I did not pass. And there was just that inner deep reset in me where I knew that I wanted to do data analysis. And when that did not pull out, I remember that my friend Boma gave me an opportunity to apply my friend Boma worked at Deloitte, so he said, "Oh, Adeife, apply." And I wasn't interested in cybersecurity. The opportunity I did was cybersecurity. This was data analysis. I was already learning data analysis. I was already quite good at the side gig I was doing at that point. But he said, "Adeife, apply." So since this door did not open, I just applied to this non-channel that I was just unserious about. But the idea is, as a young person, you must always know that opportunities align all around you. So you must be able to know when a door is closed. You must be able to make the switch over. There's the point of being persistent on a closed door, but there's also a point of knowing that time is going. You have all the time now to make mistakes. How did I even meet Boma? God ordained. At the place I was working before, on a random Monday morning, I just decided to change my tables at work. Nothing was instigating it. I just wanted to change my tables, and I went and sat close to Boma. That's how they paired us up to do a group project. And it was the person that dragged me into cybersecurity.
Wow. So based on everything we've said, you would say that, and we would agree that one of the biggest issues that people face in today's world is lack of clarity.
Yeah.
And you speak very openly about the concept of lock-in. I remember reading an article that you wrote, and you spoke about how you took like a 3-month period to prepare for your exams. And what I want you to really define is, first of all, for people who don't even know what locking in is, because we could talk about clarity and your purpose and everything, but the problem in our society today, I believe, is distraction. There's a lot of distractions. It's the beginning of the year. People would write down all their plans. People have written vision boards since January. People have started planning their year in December. I want to do this. And they end the year the exact same way they promised they would not end the year, and they wonder why they ended the year that way. So I really want you to define what locking is, and what did that period of locking in quotes, do for you beyond just passing your exams? Like what was the biggest return on investment, would you say, that did for you?
The results are great. I tell people that the results of locking in are great, but more importantly is what locking does in you as a person. In the book Deep Work, the writer was talking about how we do not have as much willpower as we think we have. And so it's important for you to channel that your scarce willpower to the place of maximum output.
What does that mean?
So it means I have something that is limited. It was the channel to the most important and most productive things in terms of results. How does it tie into the idea of locking? You have 24 hours, means you are limited. A good human being should at least sleep 6 hours. So it means automatically you have, let's say, 18 more hours. 18 hours, you have work, you have every other thing you need to do. But there's social media, there's the TV, there are Netflix series, there are a lot of things. And the problem is, I think just one social media application would have been fine.
Yeah.
But there's Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, about 5 applications screaming at you, wanting your attention. And so the first thing I always talk about in locking in is try and limit your distraction. And so that's the idea of locking in. You are trying to limit your distraction, and you are trying to build your focus muscle.
How do I do that?
Don't add to your distraction, take it off. I don't watch Netflix. I substituted it with YouTube. So I watch educative, like my work, church. You can never FOMO me into watching any Netflix film right now. Where I am, let me miss out. Because why? There's a number one distractor in my life that I'm still trying to cope with: Twitter. And so I cannot be fighting Twitter and fighting Netflix addiction, and especially when I now want to achieve a particular result. What I do at that point is now take off everything and just focus on the most essential thing at that point. It means that if I take away the time I will have spent doom scrolling on Twitter, I can challenge it into that. I remember there's an end goal. So the result is my motivator. I must pass my exam. Like, there's no locking in. I must pass my exam. I must learn that new skill by force. Right? So I am forcing my body that would naturally not do something to do that thing. It's your focus muscle. You are trying to build your ability to focus. And if you can build your focus muscle, you are unstoppable. A lot of us have weak focus muscle. We can't focus on something for too long. We must pick up our phones. We must watch something. We must get excited. That's why we can't even, a lot of people are saying, I can't eat food without watching a movie. I can't eat food without the why your focus muscle is in trouble. And the biggest problem is our attention span in this generation is in the trenches. We can't focus, we can't put our attention on certain things, and that's why a 1 hour sermon in church feels like a whole lot. But the funny thing is that we now know how to channel our attention span to the wrong things. The same people can go to the club and will be there sweating and using their entire energy for 9 hours. So yes, there are times you carry your phone and you're like, no more Twitter. You carry, or I can just walk into my housemate's house and then, what's trending? You tell me, gist me about it. And that's on the days I'm really down bad.
Yeah.
Naturally, Adeife will always want to be on Twitter.
Yeah.
But now there's no Twitter for him for the next 3 months. And so he has to be forced to go on Udemy and watch that boring course in his field. He has to be forced to ensure that he's posting on LinkedIn every day and reading articles every day. He has to be forced to see an article on Substack and go through the stress of reading it, something his body would naturally not do. But what is happening that as you're doing those things, you are building your focus muscle.
Yeah.
And so when you return back to your normal life, where you have those distractions are no longer appealing to you as they would have been appealing before. And so what I do is that I don't just go into my normal life at that point saying, let me now watch a lot of movies, or let me now be on Twitter. The Twitter I've not been on for, I must tweet everything. No. What I do is that I now set in another ad structure that allows me now to do my normal life at the same time still have my ability to focus. And the only way you can become an high achiever is by doing something that regular people would not do. The ability to shoot beyond what just the normal people will do. And so the normal people will have waited for like 6 years in their career to take the exam I did. But immediately I knew that I wanted it. I had to go for it. And something had to give way. Twitter had to give way.
Wow. I love what you just said, because it's very easy for people to say, I want to do a thing, and to not do it. And so even if people listen, people know that they should not do certain things. Like they know black from white. Yes, they don't do white, they do black. So I want to ask a question, but I want to ask it this way, right? Instead of asking you, what should someone do every day to not be where they know they shouldn't be, I want to ask this question, right? So if someone wanted their 85-year-old self to be depressed and sad, what should they do every day?
Don't do hard things. Just do things that are soft. The problem is God gave us infinite ability, finite in our physical strength, but infinite in our imagination. So in terms of imagination, imagination is free, so you can be as infinite as possible in imagining things. You can imagine as much as you can. But a lot of us do not take advantage of that ability. We would rather just say, I'm limited. My parents did not give me this. I came from a middle class family. And by God's grace, I'm changing the narrative. What I had to admit and do to myself is, whatever my father achieved late, I was going to achieve it 10 years earlier.
Wow.
Or more years, or a couple years earlier than he did it. I graduated school 10 years earlier than my dad. Or 12 years, 10 or 11 years earlier than my dad. The ability was, I must do the hard things early enough because it builds me the confidence to do more hard things. And so if an 85-year-old is going to be unhappy about life, the first thing is that you probably will just build your entire life around just wanting money, which doesn't give satisfaction. I'm not going to lie. I don't have a lot of money yet, but I've met friends. I know people who have made a ton load of money, and they will tell you that at the end of everything is vanity. But also at 85, one of the things that will give you joy is the fact that you're able to connect to your purpose. And you have seen yourself all through your 85 years living in accordance to that exact purpose of what you were meant to do in life. Building people around you that have become like a support system. At 85, loneliness. At 85, a lot of people are already like you have seen a lot of your peers die, right? But at 85, you must have built that community of people where they can say, oh, because of Valerie, because of Adeife, I was able to achieve X, Y, Z. So seeing people win, seeing people do the things that matter to them, and that also matters to you, will just give you a level of joy. And that's why you would see people who are at the gym at their old age and they are happy. Why? Because there's just that joy that comes with doing something that was hard and not just yielding to the comfort that your body wants. Because our body wants comfort. Our body wants us to do things that it wants. The flesh wants what the flesh wants. And so for you to go against that flesh and say, oh, I'm going to train you, I'm going to eat the gym every week, I'm going to go 4 times every week, and I've done that for 30 years. It will give you not just beyond the result, the mental joy it gives you, and saying, oh, I did this, is something that will just keep you going. Do hard things. That's the place I am in my life right now. I have decided I'm going to continue to do hard things, because when I do hard things, it builds in me a muscle to do more hard things.
Okay, so it's very easy to say stop scrolling on social media, leave social media, but what of in this generation where there is most jobs are now online, like a lot of people are harboring for remote jobs. We have more content creators in the generation than we've ever had in the past, and so a lot of people's jobs is to scroll on social media. They need to scroll for trends, they need to scroll for ideas. You need to know, you need to know what's going on in your field. So someone who is like a social media manager, so how do you balance that for such a person?
Okay, there are 2 sets of people who need to actually delete social media in all entirety. Right, I think I might fall into that category in the near future. But there are people who need to be on social media because that's what they do. But it's not even about social media. It's about what you do in social on social media. It's about why you are there. It's about what the impact of what you are doing to yourself. One way to know someone who has built their focus muscle is how they're able to focus regardless of distraction. The reason why locking and taking all this time off is because you know that it's difficult for you to build that focus muscle within the distraction. So you're trying to take it all out and now build your ability to focus. But if you're using a social media manager, you're a content creator, that tool you're working on, the social media applications you're working with, can show whether you are good at what you do or not. But there are people that can be on social media and be productive. It boils down to 2 things. Number 1, do you have a strategy on how you use your social media application? There's someone I really love how well she uses social media, and that's Evelyn. Has over 100k followers on IG, doing the same exact numbers on TikTok. You would see that as young as she is, she's really calculative on how she uses her social media. She has certain ways she posts, certain times she posts, certain trends she opts on, certain markets she drives, certain community she's able to gather. That kind of person, at the end of the year, she can say, I was able to grow my social media from 100 to 200, and I was able to achieve this XYZ number of impressions. Social media was not a distraction to her. So social media was a tool for her to achieve her personal goals. Do you get? So the idea now becomes, do people actually genuinely have a strategy for using social media? The difference between how I use Twitter and how Elon Musk uses Twitter is that Elon Musk is not just on Twitter as the owner of Twitter, is on Twitter to notice how the Twitter algorithm works, tweak it to fit his business model, and also continue to use Twitter to the point where he can for a fact know this is the next profitable thing I can do on Twitter. And that is why you can never say I'm not focused because he tweets every day. Do you understand? So social media managers, the difference between social media managers that are just probably earning peanuts and not even being business savvy or understanding trends, is that they are not being strategic. When you see someone who has been able to act consistently in a thing, they are not moved by distraction. That is why when I look at social media managers, I know everybody says they're a social media manager, they're social media, I get it, right? But Are you gathering results on the application? Can you get people attention? Can you get people to always see you post something and want to listen to you? Can you gather the attention of people? Can you do what shows that you have become an intellectual, where you can see a social media application and you can for a fact know what the next trend will look like? Because the most successful people I've noticed on social media are the people who are creators of trends, who are able to dictate what the next happening thing should look like on Instagram. They don't just come and do the norm. Social media is not a distraction for you as a social media manager if you have your strategy to milk it to become something more productive for you as a tool and also for your career.
I have a question, right? So you speak openly about the difference between a career and a job. Still in line with what we're discussing about jobs and focus and everything. And you speak and you say things like a career should not just be something that pays you money, but it should compound interest over time. Right? Do you think that that's a luxury? They don't have money, they need money. Do you think that this is achievable to actually have a career that compounds interest like a stock over time?
That's so brilliant, because I treat my career as a stock, and the people who always win from stocks are people that buy early, even before anybody thought about those stocks. People that bought Nvidia 5 years ago, people that bought Palantir 5 years ago, people that bought Tesla before anybody even knew about Elon Musk's potentials, right? I teach and I talk about the importance of starting early, because you can't, the time when people start coding when they are 30, people in China, young people in US have been coding since when they were 10. So the outputs will be different, because when you graduate from school after like 5 years or 7 years because of strike, at that point, what you're focused on is on let me earn. Jobs and careers are so interwoven, but we can be so fixated on money to the point where we're just focused on our job rather than a career. A career is something that comes with your innermost passion. You are passionate about it. It's something that they can wake you up any time of the day and you would always want to commit to doing it. A job is not always that. Your job is 9 to 5, which is 9 hours 5 times a week, by the way, and not 9 to 5. And a lot of people do not understand that, like I wrote in my substack, your job is a vehicle that must take you to a destination, which is where your career climax. And if you are sure about understanding that pathway, I would not want to go to Abuja and I will go and board the bus that is going to Onitsha. Two different ways. But the problem is, when you now begin to focus on money, you begin to board buses that are not going to your destination, but just because they offer you some benefit in the now. Meanwhile, they are robbing you of your time and your compounding effort. So the very moment when you begin to take jobs you're not meant to take just because you want money at that point, what it does is that you are selling a stock that you should have stayed with and allow it to grow and compound over time for a short time benefit. So what that does is that when your mates are now reaping the fruit of compounding effort, you're not trying to buy a new stock, or you're trying to get into that stock at the point where the stock has already grown. So there's nobody who would get into cybersecurity. Even me that just got into cybersecurity 4 years ago, I'm not earning as much as Tokwe, like a big partner in cybersecurity in Deloitte in Africa, who has been in cybersecurity for over 15 years. Why? It compounds over time. And so a career would compound over time, a job would not compound over time.
But is this a luxury? Because people who need, I mean, you need it, you need money. You don't have
something must give way. Something must give way. I was at Deloitte for 2 years, earning less than 200K. I could have picked up a job that paid me 600 because I want to move in. I was staying with my friend, Jepta Atikoi. I could not afford to rent an apartment at that point. So I understood the fact that there will never be any gain if I do not have pain. And I would never get to a point where I am you enjoying a result when there was no process, right? And so I knew the result of compounding over time. I had to sit at Deloitte and learn cybersecurity to be as good as I am right now.
Wow.
If I did not sit at Deloitte for 2 years, if I left after 6 months, if I left after 1 year just because of how much they were paying me, I would not compound over time. And so it's important that you understand that in your early stage of your life, you need to start early. Because if you don't start early, when you are 28, 29, you have responsibilities, you have bills to pay at that point. And at that point, you have to sell your stock early. But if you have started early when you did not need money, when you could still stay with your parents, when your parents could still send you allowance at that point, you would have been building an inner fortitude where the next 5 years, next 6 years, you are already so good at what you do that you are now commanding 6, 7 digits at that point. But if you want to start commanding 6, 7 digits like late, without having that compounding effect of time, it becomes something that's very difficult. And so it's important that we see our career as an embodiment of our entire being, and it would influence the kind of jobs you take. A career is not complete without jobs, because jobs are the vehicle that take you to that destination.
Yeah.
But a career is something that keeps you awake. A career is something that informs the kind of decision you make. When I think about my career, there are certain companies I want to work with. There are certain places I want to pay. There are certain playing fields I want to play. Why? There's a reason why footballers always want to go to Real Madrid Academy, Arsenal Academy, Chelsea Academy, Man City Academy, Liverpool Academy. Why? It sets you amongst your far above your peers. They will train you, give you the right facilities, set you up to the point where, if worst case scenario, you were in Real Madrid Academy but you cannot make it to the first team, you can at least, in the worst case scenario, end up at Liverpool or end up at Chelsea, which is a much better alternative. I'm not focused on money. I'm selfish about my career. I'm selfish about learning, because you cannot disconnect your ability to earn from your ability to learn. They are so interwoven to the point that your ability to earn so much is tied to your ability to learn as much as you can.
Yeah.
Only the people who go deep in a field will get gold. Like, I've learned it, I've watched it over time. Most of the people that I know that are successful in tech today are people who have devoted their time, their energy, their all to it. And it was not just about the job. It was about the embodiment of what they wanted. It will influence the kind of MBAs they take. It will influence the kind of schools they go to study. It will influence the kind of connections they make. It will influence the kind of things they want to learn and do. Yes, it's an overstretch because the economy is bad and you need to earn. But also the economy is stealing from you because it's forcing you to sell your stock early.
Wow.
And so that's the difference between a career and a job.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's obvious that from everything we've spoken about, life is a journey of processes. No one just arrives. Spoken about focus, spoken about everything. I want to congratulate you, obviously, on becoming a pastor in CCI. I don't think I know anybody who loves CCI more than you. You talk about CCI. Oh my God, I feel like it's really beautiful to see someone who loves his church community, loves the church. I think it's because of you that one time I posted on Substack and I just said I love the church because I love how you talk about your church community. So I want to congratulate you on that. And in one sentence, how would you say the experience of being if you were to describe, I mean, you've been in CCI for years and now you're a pastor. If you were to describe how the journey has been in one sentence, what would that be?
I'll just say I'm grateful. It's a lot of gratitude. CCI for the past 5 years has given me a different outlook to life. That's given me a different vision, a different purpose. Purpose is one of our biggest mantra, which would always say our purpose is to know God and to make him known, right? But more importantly, CCI gives you hope for tomorrow. You know fully well that you are part of something big. Every Sunday I'm at a different level of excitement. Right? I will tell people that I can go to church and stay for 6 hours, I can go to church and stay the entire day. There are times I'm just getting back home on a Sunday by 8 p.m. Why? Because church is just that place where it takes a lot of burden off me. It's a place where I can be myself. There's that same vigor, strength that my parents were serving God with. There's that same vigor and strength I'm serving God with now. No difference. I love God as much as my parents love God, because I also found a church that allows me to express myself. There's that same way my parents were expressing themselves in my family church. And so you see a lot of people waking up daily, something is driving them, waking up daily trying to do hard things, waking up daily trying to ensure that God is making a name for himself with their lives. And for me, that's something that's beautiful. And so being a pastor now feels like, God, I beg, help me. But it's also something that I'm grateful to God for. I'm grateful to God for the opportunity to partner with my ministry at this level, because being a pastor means at a higher level of commitment. But there are people in church I look up to and I'm like, it can be done. Yeah. And that's total sincere represents to me.
Wow. Congratulations once again. I don't think I've officially face-to-face told you that. So
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I just pray that God keeps your ministry and strengthens you through this journey.
Amen.
So thank you, Adewale. We've come to the end of this conversation. I had so much fun. I think I have learned so much already from this conversation, and I really believe that people will be blessed and you'll get a lot of things. So thank you for coming.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for watching this episode. Let us know what part stood out to you in the comment section below. See you in the next episode. Bye.